Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Big Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, March 8th, 2024. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball bank shop best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Friday in college hoops. Next up, we see the quarterfinal round of the Big South Conference tournament. This one between Radford and High Point. It's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. Give Radford credit for winning that last game in the first round against USC Upstate. We were unfortunately on the Spartans in that game, plus the points. They failed to cover the number, but to me, this is a really tough spot for Radford. And one of the big things that Radford kind of exploited in that first round matchup against Upstate was the weak defensive rebounding from the Spartans. Radford had 21 offensive rebounds in that game, getting a second chance on 44.7% of their missed shots. You're not going to get that in this game. Plainly put, you're just not going to get that with High Point's rebounding numbers. Not just one of the best rebounding teams in this conference or in mid-major college basketball, but nationally. Division I basketball, High Point is top 30 in both offensive and defensive rebounding percentage. Radford is a really weak defensive rebounding team, so that's a concern right off the bat, as High Point, an already potent offense that does a great job at scoring the basketball, taking care of the basketball, and getting to the free throw line, is also going to have a lot of second chance looks in this game. But beyond that, we've seen these teams play in the regular season. They played twice, once at each stadium, and High Point won the game at home most recently, 99-74, an absolute blowout win, and then they won the road game more towards the beginning of conference play, still a double-digit win, 85-71. High Point is home for this game, even though it's a conference tournament. High Point hosts the conference tournament this year, so it's going to be a home game for High Point, another advantage to the Panthers. To me, Radford is a solid shooting team. They're 61st in three-point shooting. They have a decent offense, but I don't think they can keep up for 40 minutes. They haven't been able to do so in the regular season, where they put up some good amount of points, 71 and 74, but giving up those 85, 99s, that defense just can't hold up against this potent High Point offense and that strong rebounding team. I got to go High Point in this one and lay the big number at home. Next up, we see Charleston Southern and UNC Asheville. This one's going to be a 6 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. UNC Asheville, I like this team's experience, and they won this conference tournament last year. They returned a lot of production from last year's team, including one of the best players in this conference and mid-major college basketball in general, and Drew Pember. He's coming off a great game against Radford to end the regular season, but he also had a great game against this Charleston Southern team the last time these teams played. That was an 86-55 win for Asheville, and Pember had 25 points and 11 rebounds. He's basically a walking double-double. He should have another big game here. I like the fact that Asheville not only has the experience from last year's conference tournament, but also neutral site games from this season in non-conference play, where they actually had some nice wins against Wofford and Northern Kentucky. Charleston Southern, on the other hand, did not have any neutral site games this season. They did not play too well away from home, and while I think that they're better this season than a lot of people expected and better than the program's seen in the last couple of years, I don't think they're good enough offensively to keep up. Give me UNC Asheville in this one. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we see Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, right off the bat, no doubt about it, the elephant in the room is that this is a clear letdown spot for Eastern Michigan, as they just upset Akron, the best team in this conference, and that was a road win, a huge upset win for Eastern Michigan, a big win for the program. So it is tough taking those teams in the next game, especially against the spread, because sometimes we can see them overvalued, but this is not one of those spots, in my opinion. I just think Central Michigan, while they're a great defensive team, one of the best defensive teams in this conference, 52nd in effective field goal percentage defense, top 50 in three-point defense. I don't love laying a lot of points with teams that just aren't great offensively. And this is a Central Michigan team that's just not efficient offensively. 321st in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're a bad shooting team. They don't get to the free throw line much. They're 333rd in free throw percentage. And, they've played in a lot of close games in conference play, especially 4 overtime games already for the Chippewas. They're not in great form. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games. And while I still think they win this game at home and probably pretty comfortably, I still just think that Eastern Michigan does enough to cover the number. It should be a low-scoring game. Not a lot of points, so points are at a premium because Central Michigan's one of the slower teams in this conference. Eastern Michigan, 324th in average possession length offensively, even slower than the Chippewas. So I think we see a competitive game, a lot more competitive than the first matchup of the season series. When you look at that ball game, it was a 16-point win for Central Michigan. However, they shot 60% from 2 and 65% from 3. nowhere near their season averages. This is one of the weaker shooting teams in the conference. So I'm going to go with Eastern Michigan, even though it's a letdown spot. I'm going to take the Eagles plus the points. Next up, we'll go back to the Big South Conference Tournament. This one, Presbyterian and Gardner Webb, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Now, this is an underdog that I'm willing to take on at Fridays. Presbyterian, I think they win this game outright. I think this team is kind of exactly what you want in an underdog in a conference tournament. They played some pretty good basketball down the stretch. They won 2 of the last 3 games. They beat Winthrop, one of the better teams in the conference. They do a lot of the little things right. They take care of the basketball, solid on the defensive glass. They get to the free throw line. Not a great free throw shooting team, but neither is Gardner Webb, which is ranked 357th in free throw percentage as a team. And I just think when you look at these matchups, they split the season series. The first game went to Gardner Webb at home by 16. The second one most recently went to Presbyterian at home 77-75. This one at a neutral site should be a close game, should be a competitive game. Gardner Webb is in great form. They've won 5 of the last 6 games, but I do think they are quite overrated when you look at the shot quality numbers. Not the best team there. They kind of rely on making low percentage shots at high percentage rates, which doesn't really work out too well in these conference tournament neutral site games into postseason play. So I'm going to go with Presbyterian here plus any points we can get and take them on the money line as well. Next up, we see San Diego State and Boise State, the final game we're to talk about for the Friday card of college basketball. This one 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. I think we see a low-scoring game in this one like we did the first game of the season series, and that game was a really close one, 67-66, so we saw some points scored late, but still, both defenses played really well in that game. They're 2 of the best defenses in this conference and really in the country. San Diego State, we know this team is one of the better defensive programs last 5-10 years. They're top 10 in adjusted defensive efficiency this year. I like the fact that both teams defend the perimeter really well. Boise State ranked 34th in three-point defense. San Diego State ranked 11th. And they're also both really good defensive rebounding teams. San Diego State not the best, but they're still top 120. Boise State is number 1 in the country in defensive rebounding percentage. So not a lot of shots should be made from the perimeter. Not a lot of second chance looks. Those are really key in limiting these, high scoring drives or runs where we see a lot of points scored in a short amount of time. I'm going to go with the under in this one. Should be another close game, competitive game. Hopefully no overtime so we can avoid some extra points being scored, but I'm going to go with the under here. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.